Good afternoon and welcome back to Snetterton for this British Racing and Sports Car Club race weekend. Our first race after lunch is lining up on the grid with Deegan Fairclough on pole for the Fiesta Junior Championship, a championship which has really grown this season for 14 to 17-year-olds in these Ford Fiestas. It should be some great racing, and talk you through this grid will be Scott Woodwess.
Yes, thank you very much on that one. Josh, good to hear you as well. Again, we apologise for any audio issues we had for the first couple of races there this morning. But we are now getting set now for our third race of the weekend and our first of 4 for this weekend for the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship. This is for young rising stars aged 14 to 17 years old, taking their first steps into circuit racing, out of either karting or short oval racing, or even for one of our drivers, junior rallycross as well. Great platform here, all identical Ford Fiesta ST150s, and all set to get underway for their first of, as we say, 4 races, the most they've ever had in a Fiesta Junior weekend in one go. So as they're about to get ready to go out for this first race, let's see if we can give you the grid for this first race then and show you who is where on the front. On pole position, it looks as though it is going to be the man who currently leads the championship, which is number 87, Deegan Fairclough. But his main rival at the moment, Jensen Brickley, will be starting alongside him on the front row of the grid as they head off onto their formation lap. So Deegan Fairclough then on pole position, as he took at Croft in his debut. Next to him on the front row of the grid is going to be Jensen Brickley, alongside him on that front rank in second place. Then it's Sid Smith and James Wallace, one of his better performances in qualifying so far since he joined in 4th position on the grid. Then it's Alex Lee and Jake Maynard on the 3rd row, followed by Albert Webster and then Jake Triggs, who rounds out row 4. 5th row of the grid is round out the top 10 is Joseph Knight and then Daniel Lewis, followed by George Davis and then James Pope. Round out the top 12, then it's Alex Sprange and Harry Garman, with Archie Handy starting the row back with a 10-second penalty. And that will see him sort of starting a bit further back. I think it must be due to possibly his car, some kind of a penalty or his car being underweight or some kind of a technical infringement. So that's one to watch out for from the back if he makes a little bit of progress. So as the cars then make their way off onto this formation, as we say, we never had a Fiesta Junior Championship weekend where we had more than 2 races at a time, but they're actually racing 4 times, essentially the equivalent of 2 race weekends worth of racing in one meeting. So they've had a practice session and qualifying earlier on this morning. Now they've got the first of their 2 races this afternoon, and there's qualifying tomorrow for the second set of races, which will count essentially as another round, so to speak. This is the first visit for many of these drivers to Snetterton, so some of them won't have been here before. It's the first time we've been here since, I think, 2019, so they didn't venture here last year, so practically every single driver here is new to the circuit, and of course we've got some rookies in the field who of course new to the championship as well. So let's look at the championship angle as it plays into this weekend. Deegan Fairclough then leads the way with 191 points compared to Jason Brickley, who took a double win, a very fairly dominant double win at Alton Park last time, the first ever visit to Alton Park for Fiesta Juniors. They're on 165 points, so there's for Jensen's, that is a gap of 26. Then it's Jake Maynard in 3rd with 142. Alex Lee, who, had he not retired from the first race at Croft, probably certainly would be up there in the top 3 or 4, a little bit higher between even Jensen Brickley and Deegan Fairclough. He's currently 4th with 130 points, 2 ahead of Sid Smith with 128. Joseph Knight comes next with 124. Then it's Jake Triggs on 112. And then it's 3 drivers tied on 104 points, with George Davis, James Wallace and Daniel Lewis all on the same score. So they make their way around the back straight, and this should be quite an exciting race. Of course, the long straights here at Snetterton will give a proper chance for drivers to be able to get involved in the art of overtaking and slipstream and develop their racecraft as they go. And these cars, of course, are effectively mini touring cars in many cases. They certainly go like them, they sound like them, they look like mini touring cars with these fabulously bright coloured liveries, and they certainly do put on a show that is very, very a spectacle very much akin to that of touring cars, obviously with just less contact, of course, because of course these drivers are learning their craft, but they're doing so to have put on clean, fun and exciting racing, whilst also being competitive and action-packed as well. So drivers to watch out for who might be a little bit further back. I'm intrigued to see what the progress James Wallace makes, because of course he starts this weekend tied for 8th in points between himself, George Davis and Daniel Lewis. but he's now got his best qualifying performance of the season so far with 4th. So I know he was out sort of racing in other junior series to get a bit of extra mileage in a couple of weeks ago, so which means he should be extra prepared for this weekend. And he runs in one of the 2010 cars prepared by 2010 Racing, who are the reigning senior Fiesta champions. The defending champions in the Fiesta Juniors, that being race car consultants, don't appear to have a car competing this season. But they're defending last year's champion, dominant champion, Joseph Loke, of course, has moved up to British F4 and already has won a race this season so far. So that's something I know that's of immense pride to not just the Fiesta Junior paddock, but to their coordinator, Laura Payne, and to everyone involved to have someone not just a Fiesta Junior driver, but a champion that's gone up to made the switch. I think one of the only couple that have only ever done it from the tin tops, sort of junior tin tops into single seaters. The only other one I've known that's done it was Nathaniel Hodgkiss, but not quite the same sort of success yet as Joseph has originally. But he's pressing on well and making good progress in the championship, and he'll be out next time out at next weekend at Alton Park, I believe, for the next rounds of that championship. But all the drivers here are all playing for the ultimate prize, which is to try and succeed him as the champion for this year. It's going to be quite a tough task for all of them, but someone has to do it. So Archie Handy moves into position in his row back. The green flag is at the back. Get ready for some junior racing here at Snetterton for the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship. It's Fairclough and Brickley, the top 2 in the championship, on the front row of the grid. Let's see who wins the sprint down towards turn 1. And it might be James Wallace who gets a super launch from the second row of the grid as they head down towards Richie's for the first time. But it looks like it's going to be Fairclough who will lead the way down towards towards turn 1. Wallace is up into second place, but Brickley will try and fight back into the right-hander. They are side by side for 4th between Jake Maynard and a fast-starting Jake Triggs, who's in the 5th position ahead of Sid Smith, who's dropped a couple of places. But they all seem to turn through the first couple of corners relatively unscathed. Down towards the braking point of Wilson. Let's see if they can all take it nice and steady. They're pretty much line of steady. It's 3 abreast behind. That was James Pope going up the inside of Alex Sprain. So they all seem to have got through relatively straightforward. And as they make their way down towards Wilson for the left-hander. This first lap, and Fairclough looks like he's holding the advantage. He put in a very similar start to his races at Croft when he started on pole position, and that was very varied conditions. First race was in bone dry conditions, and the second one was in absolute torrential rain. And somehow, in those conditions, even though there were 1 or 2 spinners, just about everyone managed to make it to the end. So kudos to them. But thankfully, it is bone dry here today. And thankfully, even though there has been a little bit of rain scheduled towards the end of the day, it doesn't seem to have occurred just yet. It's lovely warm temperatures. Proper summer weather here at Snetterton for the summer festival. And it's wonderful to see just in the background there, plenty of spectators watching on here at the circuit as well. Great to have you with us as well, with us watching trackside as well as watching on the live stream here this weekend. So up through the right-hander of Williams onto the back straight, and James Wallace has not only just got himself onto the back of Deacon Fairclough, but he's challenging him for the lead now as they come up onto the run towards Brundle Nelson. Change on there between Alex Sprains in the 77 and James Pope in the true sponsor car, the purple car at the back of the field, as they now make their way down towards that very tricky complex of Brundle Nelson. Still the top 4 as they are. Fairclough in the 87, and it's the white car of James Wallace, the blue and yellow of Jensen Brickley, and then Jake Maynard in the silver and blue car in 4th position. They turn their way out through the right-hander, nice and clean, nice and tidy so far. That's what we like from junior racing. And Alex Sprains a little wave as he tries to defend from James Pope, who looks back up the inside into the right-hander at the bomb hole, gives him the space, and through he will go again if he makes it. Look at this long arcing right-hander at Coram. It's a very tricky braking zone, especially for these young drivers to get right. They've had their time in practice and their time testing yesterday and in qualifying this morning to try and get it right. But it was just snatching a break or just taking the line a little bit short. Well, just catch them out wide there for Alex Sprains. Just across the line they go to end the first lap of junior racing here this weekend at Snetterton. So Fairclough leads the way. Wallace in 2nd place, Brickley 3rd, Maynard 4th, and Sid Smith rounding out the top 5. 6th for Jake Triggs, 7th for Albert Webster. It's then 8th for Alex Lee, 9th for Joseph Knight, and 10th for Harry Garman. And the rest of the field being populated by George Davis, followed by, if I can look at the rest of the table, if I can bring it up. It's then Daniel Lewis, then Alex Sprains ahead of James Pope, then Archie Handy with that 10-second delay at the start towards the back of the grid, but trying to make up a bit of pace already in the early stages on this second lap. Wide there from Jensen Brickley in 3rd place. as you mentioned, lots of drivers have come through the short oval route. Of course, even former champion Ollie Turner came through the short oval route. Albert Webster's come through, I think Junior Hot Rods, and quite a few drivers from the world of mini stocks as well have come through this championship. As around the outside looks Alex Lee. That's a bit of a daring pass. We tried to go around Agostini's the long way around if he could, but Albert Webster gets his elbows out and tries to defend. He looks one way, then the other, and trying to shut the door firmly in Alex Lee's face. This now gives Joseph Knight a real chance to get through. And he did take a peek around the outside at Hamilton's, but couldn't quite find a way past. So this is looking pretty strong at the moment. Now through the right-hander, Webster, I think he was, just held the line nicely there, but they're all starting to stack up a little bit behind Alex Lee now, Joseph Knight, and also Harry Garman. So lots of different backgrounds here. You've got, of course, the two casters, Alex Lee and Joseph Knight. You've also then got the junior hot rods racer, Albert Webster, the junior rallycross racer, which is Harry Garman. Back then he was racing a Suzuki Swift, so he's stayed in front-wheel drives, and plenty of experience, but they're all fairly evenly matched. And then another short oval racer, which is George Davis, and he's in mini stocks, and he's at the back of that field as well. So top two trying to pull away here for the scrap at all, and just running wide, I think, hopefully outbraking himself is Jake Triggs. Quickly refines the circuit, as up the inside, finally past Albert Webster goes Alex Lee. He might well open the door for Joseph Knight to squeeze through into the bomb hole. Harry Garman might look to try and make his way through as well. These two, of course, share an awning. Well, they don't share an awning at the moment, but they're quite good friends from last year when they were one of the few drivers that debuted in 2020. And they're going to go side by side through Coram. I think if he can hold his line, Webster might well look for the inside line again into Murray. So he can try and hold on. He just about gets it swept across and remains in front. But Knight will try and get him back on the exit, try and put himself alongside. If Harry Garman can get a good exit, he might get a tow from both of them. But he's now got under close attention from George Davis. Brilliant stuff from the Fiesta Juniors down towards the pit straight towards Ritchie's for the third time. Ending lap number 2. And Jake Triggs, after he was in that initial leading group, he's now being closed down by Alex Lee pretty quickly as they turn in through Ritchie's. And a reminder for those watching, these are 14 to 17-year-olds. They're not sort of more senior drivers. They are the youngest drivers that we have here this weekend, and they're driving simply like they've been doing it for a while. So kudos to all of them for keeping it on the road and keeping it clean so far. Nice little bit of close quarters between them, but they're keeping it clean and tidy, which is the main thing, and that's what we want to see. Deegan Fairclough, for the first proper flying lap, does take the fastest lap of the race so far. 2 minutes 22.484 for Deegan. There's the scrap going on just at the bottom of the screen that you saw between, that was Jake Maynard and Sid Smith. Sid, of course, the son of Rob Smith, who took a second place earlier on in the Fiesta Championship. They've got very similar liveried cars, both sponsored by Green Recycling. There's Albert Webster, he's supported by AMD Tuning, and of course gets some support from Sean Hollenby as well, of course, with AMD Tuning. So nice to have someone of BTCC alumni. Of course, there's also more support for Deegan Fairclough, because he has backing from Sicily Motorsports. He's one of their junior drivers, and certainly supporting him in his racing journey here. Of course, that car run by Jam Sport as well. Deegan looking to try and add to his 2 victories that he's already had at Croft, and he did fairly well at Alton Park. He still managed to pick up a second and a third from that weekend, so 2 more podiums to keep him on track, but he just couldn't quite get the measure of Jensen Brickley. He's got the measure of him now, but he might be under major threat from James Wallace here. So these two were slight late additions to the championship this year, but they've settled in nicely and really are showing good paces. Jake Maynard runs wide on the exit, and he was almost following Jensen Brickley because Jensen almost went off in front of him moments before then. So you can't say to me that Jake Maynard's not trying here, because he's certainly trying to put his foot down and keep up with the leaders. Speaking of leaders and putting his foot down, Deegan Fairclough is trying to do that as much as he can. Brickley's in a bit of no man's land in 3rd place. Scrap for 4th continues on between these two. They turn their way out through the left-hander at Murray's and back onto the long drag up the pit straight, which is a great chance if you're close in the slipstream to try and just latch on and try and get that little bit closer to line him up for a move into Ritchie's, or possibly the Wilson hairpin, or make a setup for the next couple of corners at Wilson or Agostini. That's the purpose of this championship. It's always to just allow these drivers coming out of these junior ranks and other areas of motorsports just to find their feet in circuit racing, to start to learn these circuits like Snetterton and Croft and Alton Park and other great circuits like Silverstone and Brands Hatch and Donington, to get them to learning and adapt to the circuits as quickly as possible at this young age, so that by the time they get into their older age, into senior racing, they'll have had quite a few years of experience and possibly an edge over some of those who are only just coming out of karting at the ages of 17, 18 years old. I think it was a little wide there, just we saw from Jensen Brickley in 3rd place, but he's kept his momentum enough to have a couple of car lengths over Maynard and Smith. Smith is just trying to put a bit of distraction tactics into the mind of Jake Maynard here, just swinging around in these mirrors, just trying to wade through, just trying to let them know I'm still here, I haven't disappeared anywhere. I'm still hunting you down for 4th position. And Sid Smith has got some ground to make up after he failed to finish the first race at Alton Park, but he has taken his best result of a 2nd place. That was at the first race at Croft, and he took the fastest lap from that race as well, and that was after a brilliant scrap between the leaders and the dry. The wet conditions at Croft certainly did mix things up quite a bit, but it didn't mix up the race winner, because Egan Fairclough certainly showed his wet weather prowess to hold on to the advantage that he had. So down the back straight they go again. This is on lap 4. And no new fastest lap just yet, but Egan Fairclough and James Wallace both lapping in the 2:22s at the moment, so they are literally at the moment the class of the field. Next fastest is then Jensen Brickley, and then this scrap that continues to rage between Jake Maynard and Sid Smith. Remember, we'll see them 3 more times this weekend, once more today and then twice more tomorrow. Busy weekend for the juniors. I'm pretty sure they'll sleep on the way home tonight, because it's quite a weekend's racing for them. It's a total of 7 sessions when normally they have about 4, so just a practice session, a qualifying and 2 races across 2 days, but they've got absolutely more than that. That's certainly going to be quite a bumper weekend for them. And of course that means there's a lot of championship points on offer. There's about roughly, if you include all the points you can get for fastest lap of points, it's 53 points as a maximum from a race that you can get. So my rudimentary GCSE maths tells you that's 212 maximum points you can score from this weekend, and that's taking pole, fastest lap and the race win in all 4 of those races. So Fairclough's lead now up to 1.2 seconds that time. He's increased it to over a second now. He was 6/10 quicker than James Wallace last time. There's a move on there between Jake Triggs and Alex Lee that was happening for 6th position, and also possible changes are going on there for, that was 10th and 12th. That was George Davis and Harry Garman scrapping over 10th, and for 12th it was Daniel Lewis trying to make a move on James Pope. Archie Handy is in 14th place. It looks though also we've had either an off or some kind of a temporary issue for Alex Brange, who is back in 15th position. So this is trying to make his way. But Alex Brange is one of those drivers who is very much an independent runner. He does get a little bit of support from maybe one or two of the teams that can try and help him out, but he does incredible work to pretty much, fund his all racing his own way. He looks after his own car at the moment and puts everything together. He's a fantastic effort to get the car onto the grid. He's had a little bit of bad luck, particularly at Alton Park with one or 2 mechanical issues, but he certainly doesn't give up, and he's certainly the spirit of something like Fiesta Juniors, where even the independents can come along and race and take it to some of the bigger teams, and it's encouraged because it's nice to have some of the independent sort of lad and dad type teams get involved and just showing what they can do against some of the teams that run several cars in the mix, and it's always great to see them go up against them and do well. Down the back straight, still this battle goes on between Sid Smith, who's in a bit of a deadlock at the moment with Jake Maynard. They're both very evenly matched pace-wise. The last time by, Smith was quicker, but only by about 0.04 of a second, so not much change there, as both Fairclough and Wallace 3-wheel their way through Brundle. So how stiffly sprung these cars are. They run the AST suspension championship kit. They're very much the same spec as the ST150 cars that you find in the senior level Fiesta Championship. The only difference is that these cars run a dedicated junior spec Goodyear tyre, and they also run an engine restrictor to ensure that these cars don't essentially have the power to take them over about 100 miles an hour. It's for safety and also for just for simply regulation reasons to do that. But that's also how easy it is for some of these drivers to move up from junior into senior race and to just change the tyres on this to a set of the dedicated Goodyear slicks and then take the restrictor off and the car's ready to go. So you don't have to do much. Simply for basically the price of a set of tyres, you can go from junior to senior racing in one fell swoop. So that's why this championship's been so popular. It's spawned quite a few fantastic alumni. In fact, we've now got 3 British Touring Car graduates this season, because not just Bobby Thompson and Aidan Moffat from this championship, but also as of this week it was announced that Jack Mitchell, who was in the first championship for Fiesta Juniors in 2012, has gone on from the winning the GT4 class in the British GT Championship, and now has locked in a seat for the rest of the year at Team Hard in one of their Cupras. So congratulations to Jack, and great to have a 3rd name from the Fiesta Junior history books now stepping up into the top championship in the UK, that being the British Touring Car Championship. So well done to him, and I'm sure that there's plenty of the drivers in this field that will be looking to try and emulate that as much as possible. So there's Jensen Brickley, again holding his own in 3rd place, and there's a change on, I think, almost for 4th again, because Sid Smith was looking to the outside of Jake Maynard, but I think He tried to go around the outside, but he just almost gets shown the curb a little bit there. But Smith's exit was fairly decent. Again, looking around left and right, just putting himself into Jake's mirrors, just still reminding him he hasn't gone anywhere. He's still hunting him down, as he always has been throughout this race. Now, we're coming up to the start of the last lap here, because there's been only 15-minute races, and they've been going on for so long that they've been having so much of an exciting race that we've almost got carried away of time. So only a minute and a half on the timing just left, but it looks as though that Deegan Fairclough, at the moment, is in position to pick up his 3rd win of the season, which will be brilliant. It'll help him extend his championship lead. And I know that both he and Wallace, when they first jumped into the championship, when they'd had their first day of testing, they immediately fell in love with the cars and the championship, and it's great to have them in the paddock. And certainly proving that you can jump straight into this championship and be pretty quick if you've got a good background in karting or in racing, or if you just got a natural feel for the car. And certainly these two, who again have absolutely taken these guys. It's great progress by James, of course, as well, because he joined pretty late and has made some steady progress in the first 2 meetings. Now you can see he's one of the front runners now in this meeting, taking a real big step forward. He has changed cars, I've noticed. I think that's possibly I think that's possibly Spencer Stevenson's old car, I think, which he used to run in the Fiesta Championship last year when it was just ST150. So he's picked up quite a handy car, so to speak. And he's now making the most of it as they head on to the last lap here at Snetterton. The first time they'll do this for the weekend. They've got 3 more times they'll have a last lap board to go out for them. But pretty much textbook stuff from Deegan Fairclough at the moment. You can see why Sicily Motorsport picked him up as a junior driver. He certainly has lived up to that pretty well in this first race, and even though James Wallace has been in close attention, he hasn't really given him too much trouble. Oh, I've just spotted on the bottom of the shot, Joseph Knight's pulled up to a stop. That's a shame. So Joseph Knight has unfortunately retired. That was about a couple of laps ago, sadly. So Joseph Knight with mechanical issues on his number 88 machine, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless, it will hopefully mean that he can get that car out for race 2. And of course, not today, hopefully they'll be able to get the car fixed for tomorrow, because of course, as we say, 2 more races, so 2 more chances to score some more points. So down the short straight into Hamilton's for the last time. And now back towards Oggy's, this corner that's a bit tricky when you turn it. It's a very early apex, then you sort of let the cut, it just opens out as you go through on the exit. Got to be careful not to run too wide. It's quite an awkward sort of angle that it opens out to. And now they're on towards the Williams corner, named after Sir Frank Williams, and down the Bentley straight for the last time. Top 3 looks pretty much set. What about 4th? Has that been settled, or is it still raging on? It's still raging on, because Jake Maynard still hasn't shaken off Sid Smith. And those two are now closer than ever as they come down towards the complex of Brundle and Nelson. Now I wonder, is Sid Smith going to throw caution to the wind and make a move here, or will he sit back and take the points for 5th? We'll keep an eye on that, but as for Deegan Fairclough, he will take as many points as he can, I'm sure. It looks as though he's actually going to get the maximum score from this first race, because it will be pole position, which will be the points he gets for pole position, and then for the fastest lap, because he does hold that as well, which he's set all the way back towards the beginning of the race, 2 minutes 22.484. And as he comes up through Coram for the last time, he looks as though he's going to go and take up his 3rd win of the season. It's been pretty superb drive. He sort of had to try and find his form again at Alton Park, but he's definitely found it once again. He's rebounded in superb style. The championship leader will add to his tally once again. It is a 3rd win of the season for Deegan Fairclough in the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship. Fairclough wins race 1 at Snetterton, and brilliant 2nd place and a first FJC podium for James Wallace. James Brickley adds to his tally with 3rd. It's side by side for the line for 4 between Smith and Maynard. They're going to be a dead heat towards the line. I think Smith just gets his nose in front. Yes, he does. Sid Smith crossed the line and nicks 4th on the line by 0.137 of a second. Brilliant finish. Was going to race-long battle for those two. Crossed the line for 6th as Alex Lee, who does pass Jake Triggs in the final few stages. It's then George Davis 8th, Albert Webster 9th, and Harry Garman picks up a top 10 finish ahead of James Pope in 11th. With Daniel Lewis in 12th position, and then Archie Handy in 13th, and Alex Sprange will come home in 14th place. So all but one of our juniors made it home, and what we didn't get, sadly, was Joseph Knight, who had that whatever mechanical issue it was that sadly put him out of the race in the second half. So brilliant stuff from the juniors so far. That was really nice, good, competitive, clean racing from everyone all round. So that will be really pleasing to the championship, and of course to the teams and to all the drivers involved and everything. So that will certainly be something which something which they'll be very, very, very thankful for. Going ahead to the second race later on this afternoon. There might be a slight timetable change. There might be a bit switch around between the senior and the junior races, but we'll confirm that in terms of the order when we see them coming out for that second race, for their second races later on. But great start to the afternoon's action from the Fiesta Juniors. Really nice, clean racing. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel stuff in the early stages, but once Deacon Fairclough settled down into a rhythm, it was pretty much able to run it as he pleased. And there is the race winner, just pulling into Parc Fermé. This is also the drivers in second and third. So that will be, I have to correct myself, it's you only get the point for pole position in the first from the qualifying session, so you only really get it from technically added to your first result for your first race. So it'll be 53 points for Deegan in this first race, because of course he got the fastest lap and pole position and the race victory. But then in the subsequent three races, this race and the fourth race, he'll get 52 points. But I correct myself, if he does this again tomorrow, the first race, and gets pole position and the fastest lap, he'll have another 53. So I think he'll actually get 210 points, I think is the total one. Right, I think we can hear what he thought about that as we can head down to Josh Barrett in the Parc Fermé, have a chat to our top three in Fiesta Juniors, including a very happy, I'm sure, Deegan Fairclough.
So that's the completion of the first of 4 Fiesta Junior races this weekend. It's Deegan Fairclough, your third win of the season. Well done. You managed to just break the toe and pull away.
Thank you. Literally over the moon. That was such a good race. Got a good start and then held my grounds and focused and tried to get away from the toe, and we managed to do it. And yeah, over the moon. So happy.
A great way to start the weekend. It's a very important weekend with 4 races.
Yeah, definitely. Good points in the championship there. That's what we really need. Thanks to Jam Sports, Sicily, Mattels and Car Gods, they've made it possible.
And I guess this weekend 4 races, if it was a weak track for you, obviously that's not a good thing, but obviously so far pole position, race win, and now you're looking to carry that on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done then to Deegan Fairclough, our winner, who gets congratulated by James Wallace, who took second. Second place there for you, James. You're pretty close to Deegan, but couldn't quite get close enough to challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really close race the whole way through. Probably could have lunged him, but I didn't really want to take the risk. I mean, I was satisfied with the start that I got up 2 places, but big thanks to 2010 for the preparation of the car. Performed brilliant that race.
And like I was saying with Deegan, because of the 4 races, you can't afford a damaged car, can you, at this point?
No, not right now, so I didn't want to take too many risks. But now I think I'm kind of interfering with the championship a bit. And I think it will change things up. So,
have you learned anything from that race to bring forward to the late race later today?
I think not trying to win it straight off the first corner.
Yeah.
And just be patient and wait your opportunity to go for an overtake if you can.
Well, well done on second position. In third place was Jensen Brickley, who's, let's see if we can get Jensen, do you want to jump out your car and we'll have a word with you. So third place for Jensen Brickley. Not quite up with the top 2. How do you feel that went?
Yeah, well, I got a really bad start.
Right.
And then them two just got in the toe of each other and I just couldn't keep up with them. I was just a little bit too far back to be in the toe, and then I was just on my own, pushing my own air.
That's the problem around it. It's such important, isn't it, the toe?
Yeah, it is really important on the back straight.
But where, say for Deegan, he's got good momentum going into the rest of the weekend. You know now you've got 3 more races to make amends and try and get another win.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Is this a circuit that you've been enjoying so far?
Yeah, I felt really good in practice, but then I was struggling in practice and qualifying this morning, and struggling in that race as well. I'm not sure what it is, but hopefully we get it sorted.
And with a race later, perhaps it'll still be dry, then maybe tomorrow the conditions might be different and that's going to really mix things up.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it's dry tomorrow, because no one likes the rain really, do they? It's all right to drive in, but it just ruins the weekend.
Well, fingers crossed. Well done on third place. So third race there was Jensen Brickley, second was James Wallace, and our winner to start off this afternoon's action was Deegan Fairclough.